Let's get educated. That's why we're here, to bring you the stories impacting K-12 classrooms and college campuses. It's time for a little education.
We are back, everybody.
Yes.
I am Katie Petrick, as always, joined by David Fiorazzo. Now, David, did you get your fill of the pumpkin pie?
No and yes. I did not get my fill, but I did have pumpkin pie. But there will be continuous filling
Like
as
your
the days go
pumpkin
on.
spice Cheerios? Is that why you got
Yes.
them over there for you?
Forgot about that. I had these up here. Sorry. Yes, we will continue to enjoy the filling of pumpkin pie through the Christmas holiday season. Thank you for asking, Katie.
You're most welcome. Now, David, before we get started, I also need to ask you, in addition to your pumpkin spice, how'd you sleep after that big old Thanksgiving meal you had?
Pretty well, actually.
Oh, did
Yeah.
you now?
Yeah. Well, I have my pillow.
Well, there you go.
Oop, was I not supposed to?
Well, you do have your My Pillow, and that's a good thing. I also have My Pillow, and I slept pretty decent too, although I didn't have any turkey, and that's a whole nother story. But anyway, in case you didn't get some good sleep, you would have gotten much better sleep if you were nestled into some quality Giza sheets while resting your little head upon a signature pillow from My Pillow.
You're probably right. Well, it's that time of year to stock up on sheets, towels, pillows, slippers, robes, and even coffee. Right now, you can save up to 66% on everything by simply using the code EDUCATED. So go to mypillow.com, use the code EDUCATED, and send Katie and I something nice this Christmas season. Oh, I didn't ask you, why didn't you have turkey?
Oh, well, it's a long story for another day, but I had some chicken enchiladas, and they were pretty delightful.
All right.
Maybe I'll have some turkey at Christmas.
By the way, email us here at Stay Educated and ask Katie to explain that. She would love to respond to you.
This is true. All right. Well, anyway, Donald Trump's former Secretary of State says that the most dangerous person in the world is not some foreign dictator. We're talking Secretary of State who probably knows a few foreign dictators, but it's actually the head of the second largest teachers union in the country. David, well, that's some news coming out from the former Secretary of State.
Yeah, they're calling each other dangerous, I think, is what this is going back and forth now. But former Secretary of State Pompeo calls teachers union head the most dangerous person in the world. It's American Federation of Teachers President Randy Weingarten.
Randy!
The most dangerous individual. And you know what I mean? We're making fun of this in a way, but we're talking about the influence of millions and millions of young children, impressionable children. We know what kind of garbage is in the curriculum. So it's dangerous. Whether she is the most dangerous or not, that's up for another debate. But anyway, so Pompeo is accusing the teachers' unions of pushing filth on children. Thank you, sir, for making that public statement. Quote, I tell the story often. I get asked, who's the most dangerous person in the world? Is it Chairman Kim? Is it Xi Jinping? The most dangerous person in the world is Randy Weingarten. So he said this, it's not a close call, he went further. If you ask who is most likely to take this republic down, it would be the teachers' unions. And the filth that they're teaching our kids, and the fact that they don't know math and reading or writing. So, Katie, he said some fascinating things, kind of paraphrasing a lot of the shows that we do because of the garbage that they're pushing. The lack of education and the actually indoctrination is taking the republic down.
It's absolutely true. And that's where you can see his argument when he says, well, if you're talking about who is most likely to take this republic down, that's what it is. Death by 1,000 paper cuts. Like, this is what's happening in our society. Is it's not just, and I know because Pompeo was part of Trump, and as soon as you say that word, that gets all sorts of feelings. So it's not Trump taking the world down, but this is an instance where you have an individual at the top who you can point to because of what she is orchestrating and arguing for to all of her teachers unions other teacher union heads at the state level, and then that trickles down into all of the teachers in these public schools who are then trickling down into all of our children. And they are pushing forward with all of their nonsense, not teaching our kids how to read, write, or do arithmetic, but teaching how to trans the kids. And yes, I'm going to say the phrase transing the kids, because that's what's happening. And it all stems from Randy Weingarten at the top. It's just trickling down. So Mike Pompeo, I mean, he's been around the block a time or two. He has seen and sat with these dictators. He knows the level of like detriment they could do to a society. And for him to say Randy Weingarten is the worst, I take him at his word. Or the most dangerous. The most dangerous.
Well, the worst.
Yeah, but the most dangerous, I understand his viewpoint.
Yeah.
I understand what he is saying because he's also been paying attention to what's happening to our schools.
Yep. And by the way, Weingarten retweeted a post that claimed it's crucial to teach queer history amid LGBTQIA plus History Month and the rest of the year too, she said. So there you go again, queer all year. And we have another.
That's gonna be the phrase.
Yep, we have a quote from Pompeo. But first, there's a video from Randy Weingarten. Watch.
And when I hear Pompeo do this about saying that what is taught is filthy, or attacking teachers, or attacking their representative who's been reelected by them, it makes people feel more alone and more isolated. And what we need to do more and more and more, which is part of the reason why opening schools were so important, bring back the relationships, bring back the comedy, bring people together so that people can see that, you know, they're not just looking at their devices, that they can see that that kind of relational well-being, regardless of what you believe, is what's vital in terms of overcoming the doubt, overcoming the problems, overcoming the anxiety, and the aftershocks, not only of COVID, but the inequities. That's why I'm so concerned about what he did.
Oh,
Gaslighting.
my God.
Gaslighting. They was so important to get open up the schools again. They advocated for some of the most stricted shutdowns across the country, and the bobbling heads there on whatever liberal communist network that was. Yeah, sure. Oh, yes, Randy, yes.
Number one, she says we need to bring the comedy back, but this entire thing has been a farce. The entire situation with our school system has been a giant farce, and it's not funny at all. It's downright.
It's sad.
Dangerous, would you say? And what she is saying on these morning shows, as she says all of them, she is, by the way, she is to schools what Anthony Fauci is to the health system. Like, they go on these shows and they gaslight, and then they're like, oh, what's wrong? Is there something happening? I didn't know. Why are you being all political, Mike Pompeo? Why are you saying this? What are you doing? It's ridiculous. But hey, you know, she likes to tweet out things instead of actually representing teachers. I mean, she goes on the morning shows and was talking about the Mike Pompeo thing. She's tweeting about the Mike Pompeo thing, but hey, she cares about your kids, right? As Randy Weingarten tweeted, I know that Mike Pompeo is running for president. Oh, she should be a journalist. She's got inside scoop. And frankly, I don't know whether to characterize his characterization of me in the interview that he had done where he said this as ridiculous or dangerous. Wait. So now he's the dangerous one. Okay. At the State Department, Pompeo defended Middle East tyrants and undermined Ukraine.
Lies.
Says the lady, yes, of course, with the little Ukraine flag up there. So of course, she's going to talk about it. He was more focused on pleasing Trump than fighting the number 4 freedom, national security, and democracy.
Lies.
To compare us to China means he must not know what his own department says. Do you know what your own president says there, Randy Weingarten, like the president of the United States who you bow to? Because he doesn't even know what he says. So thanks, Randy.
Well, I want to mention a quote Pompeo said, if our kids don't grow up understanding America is an exceptional nation, we're done. And they're not growing up believing that. In fact, they believe just the opposite because they're told to, they're taught to. Pompeo said if they think it's an oppressor class and an oppressed class, if they think the 1619 Project and we were founded on a racist idea, if those are the things people entered the 7th grade deeply embedded into their understanding of America, it's difficult to understand how Xi Jinping's claim that America is in decline won't prove true. So Pompeo is right. She is just making it up. She knows there aren't going to be any fact checkers to check her, but we've got to move on, Katie. Still to come, a Michigan school board appoints a self-proclaimed unhinged 23-year-old with several mental illnesses to be its trustee. What could go wrong? Stay with us.
If you have a smartphone, tablet, Roku, or Apple TV, consider downloading the Freedom Project Media app. It's 100% free and includes all of our weekly shows, plus lecture series, archive programs, and award-winning animated videos for families like the Presidential Minute, Battles of America, and Heroes of the West. Don't rely on the social media giants to keep you informed. Simply download the Freedom Project Media app from your app store and allow notifications. And we'll let you know when a new video is ready.
We keep telling moms and dads across the nation, get involved in your school board.
We do.
And what happens when you don't get involved? You're about to find out. This is what happens when you don't. You, at least in Michigan, get a 23-year-old who claims himself to be chaotic, evil, and unhinged. He was just appointed to the Dryden Community School Board. I am, of course, talking about the forenamed Carl Austin Miller Grondin.
What?
Who has been appointed the youngest ever trustee for the school board. And of course, parents are outraged. I can't see why. It's not because of his age. Hey, we're not ageist around here. 23, that's awesome, if he's informed. But it's because of all the things that he posts online, because everyone's online, their entire lives are online. If you're not online, I guess you're stuck in the real world, and we can't have that today. Everyone is online.
No, Katie, people are going to think you're exaggerating when you describe this guy, that he actually does post evil, demonic pictures of himself on his social media, which has been removed, but we have captures.
Yeah, that's true.
Screen grabs.
There are photos, there are videos. They have the offensive language. He's wearing like sexually inappropriate attire, all this thing. And hey, let's just take a look at a little TikTok video there where he literally in the caption says, when you have several mental illnesses and clinically unhinged, but hey, you came out funny and extroverted. And it's just a video of him kind of dancing back and forth and drinking, I don't know, a frappuccino, alcohol, who knows what is happening. But he admits right there that he's got several mental illnesses. Okay, that's not all. His social media actually says
look at that
he goes by he, him.
He, him.
He's a brat.
Yes.
He says chaotic evil.
Yes.
And unhinged.
Yes.
And now representing the Dryden Community School Board. Well, that's delicious.
I want to point out, tragically, apparently, he had 104 million followers. Oh, wait, 104,000 followers, 10.7 million likes on his whatever profile this is from.
His social media there.
On one of his social media.
All the various ones.
That's a lot of influence. That's a lot of influence that he's having, and you can bet a lot of children in that wherever Dryden is, whatever district that is, they know about this. I'm sure they do.
Well, yeah, and so basically, what typically happens, I guess one parent had actually talked about it and said that the local school board knew the local voters would not actually vote in this person, this parent said, for this freak, even though he's from a well-known and influential family. Oh, interesting.
Oh, there we go.
So they appointed him. This is not the influence we want or need on our kids. And then typically, I guess what happens is Dryden School Board trustees are elected, like, school boards are elected all across the nation. Well, there was a vacant seat that became available when a board member had stepped down to accept employment in the district's high school. So when a parent reached out to Libs of TikTok, who actually brought this to light, they said that this was announced out of the blue, and parents and grandparents are enraged. Now, Grondin will serve on the board for 2 years during the next election cycle unless a special election is announced, which is interesting. Let's see if that actually happens. But I guess on being appointed, Grondin said, I want to be the person I never saw growing up in Dryden as the only openly LGBT kid. A ton of administrators like the Dryden Junior Senior High School principal and district superintendent, Mary Finnegan, were constantly encouraging me and were great. But my experience would have been even better if I saw someone like me to look up to. Well, you're on the social media now, so now everyone can look up to you.
Yep.
And you'll also be at these school board meetings. So let's see how that happens, like what happens there, and how much better of an education these kids will get because Grandin being on that school board.
There's one thing I noticed from this article, that he was encouraging kids on TikTok to use branding people with homophobia as a manipulation tactic. I find that to be they're just blatantly open with what they're doing, their tactics and their agenda now. And I find it interesting. They are also influential on children. So, hey, just back them into the corner, use accusations, use labels, hateful, homophobe, and whatever else.
Yep.
You know?
All right. Well, when we come back, 2 Pennsylvania school board members are caught on video saying that girls should just allow boys to compete on their teams because it won't matter that much anyway, right? That's next.
Today's show is sponsored by our friends at MyPillow. Save up to 66% on pristine quality bedding, towels, slippers, signature pillows, and much more when you use the code EDUCATED. That's EDUCATED. Educated. Support this show and a great American company.
Does Title IX even matter? That's the question of this next story, because should girls be allowed to compete against, and here's the key word, just girls? That's where we're at. Title IX. Should girls be allowed to compete against just girls?
I'm already confused.
Not boys being on the girls' teams. The ones who say that they are trans, so that they then compete on the girls' teams. That's the question. This is the debate we're going to have, I'm sure, all of 2023, because we've had it all of 2022 as well. Now, there's a school board who said, a couple members on the school board, who said that, since girls, they don't amount to much of anything anyway, in terms of sports, who cares? And these are coming from, dare I say, female school board members. Take a look.
Our philosophy is not about competition and who's winning. That doesn't seem to be the purpose of athletics at CBSD, at least as we've stated it.
Like, just looking at a kind of big picture view of what we're talking about. Because one, I question why this conversation is coming up right now. Is it theoretical? Is it driven by political means? I mean, is it really relevant mostly to the K through 12 population? Because that's really what we're talking about. About 99% of kids will never go on to professional sports, and only about 94% will go on to college level sports. And that doesn't mean that we don't have this conversation. It just means that really what it should be grounded on is inclusion of all kids. Like, every kid needs to have the opportunity to play.
So much there. But just so we know, this is Central Bucks School District in Pennsylvania, and those were 2 Democrat school board members who, as you heard, think that boys should just compete as girls. It doesn't really matter. As the one said, our philosophy is not about competition and who's winning. Mm-hmm. But David, we're talking about sports.
Yeah.
Specifically in sports. Yes, it is about, especially high school sports. We're not talking like pee-wee sports where, everyone gets to play, all the kids can play.
Right, and they'll get
We're talking about the high school sports, and especially since we're talking about girls and how they could get scholarships.
Yes, thank you for bringing that up.
To education, to further their education in college. Yes, it absolutely does matter and should be about competition. Mm-hmm. And by you just saying it's about inclusion and everyone should just get to play, then take away all the sports.
So are they implying that winning isn't important? As this
Correct.
Tweet from Megan Brock mentioning this thing, that our philosophy is not about competition and who's winning.
Yep, that's what she said.
It doesn't seem to be the purpose of athletics at this district in Pennsylvania.
Yep, that's exactly what it said. And the fact that the next one said about 99% of the kids will never go on to play professional sports, and only 94 will go on to college level sports.
Why does that matter?
That's not my point. The reason you play sports in high school, the reason I played sports is camaraderie, about learning responsibility and hard work and dedication and feeling pain and suffering and then seeking that reward after. And it's not always about winning, but it is about working hard and earning some sort of reward for what you put into it. But if you're going to do this to girls and you're going to say, who cares, let's let all the boys play with the girls, how defeatist is that to the girls? Why would they even try then?
Yep.
Because that's what you learn in high school sports, especially the team sports. You learn how to actually work together with other human beings, but we don't want that in our society. We just want girls to be kicked off to the side in favor of all those boys who say they're girls. point blank. I could go on. I'm very feisty when it comes to female sports because this is my bread and butter.
It's just, to me, again, what were our great-grandparents or our grandparents think? It is astounding that we're having these conversations. It really is. But still to come, a high school sophomore in Seattle takes first place at a girls' track meet. But last year, he took 72nd place, competing at the same meet as a boy. We're talking about that next.
We want to hear from you. If you have a question or comment for Katie, David, or any of our other show hosts, simply visit stayeducated.org. That's stayeducated.org and submit your question or comment. Our team loves to hear from you and might just give you a shout out on air. Again, visit stayeducated.org and connect with us.
All right, the next story, quickly, this biological male. Let's call this person him, shall we? The headline says, a biological male who was 72nd on boys' track team takes first place on girls' track team. Katie, it's not exactly a headline, but here's what happened, friends. I mean, this is common sense. Washington Seattle Academy High School girls cross-country team qualified for the state championship thanks to trans student Aspen Hoffman. So last year, Hoffman, was a mediocre cross-country runner and on Seattle Academy's boys team. During freshman year, Aspen Hoffman competed as a boy. He finished in 72nd place. Now look at that. We even have documentation on that. Is this number 72 there? Can you see that?
Yep.
Where he placed
72nd.
as a boy. But wait, there's more. As a sophomore, competing as a girl, Hoffman broke Seattle Academy's school record. Well, it's the girls' record in the 5,000 meter category and ranks first in the league. Hoffman's time in the 5,000 meter would rank him 48th if he had competed in the boys' division. Earlier this semester, Hoffman took second at districts, qualifying Seattle Academy for the state championship. So I'm going, okay, this whole academy is in because a boy competed with the girls. And Katie, just go ahead and get feisty on us.
All right. When you're talking about, especially because last year was a freshman, now he's a sophomore, his biology is still really revving up to go.
Yep.
When you are a girl and you are a freshman and then you go to sophomore year, girls obviously mature biologically faster than the boys do. So the girls at this point are kind of, not that they're slowing down, but they're not going to propel in terms of their speed as much as what the boys are. You saw, based on his last year's qualification time being 72nd, he did get about almost a minute and a half faster. And in cross country, that's huge in a 5,000 meter.
That's impressive.
However, if you can see that if
things are equal, it's
if all things are equal, as you said, he would have still placed 48th if he was doing that in the boys' time. So you can see how much better boys are at this age, and it takes a lot more for the girls. So now, literally, the girls are being left in the dust on the cross country trail because of what is happening and what they're allowing. So if you're a girl on the cross country team, yay! I just PR'd, they call it, or personal record, or personal best, PB, whatever you want to call it. But I still took second on my team and in second maybe overall to a boy, a biological male. And you cannot overcome that when you see just biologically, you see the numbers that he's coming in with. I'm feisty about it.
Come on, Katie, trust the science, won't you?
No.
Let me go back. What happened? Really briefly history. In 2007, the Washington State Interscholastic Athletic Association adopted the International Olympic Committee's position, which stated that trans individuals could participate in sports in their reassigned gender. In other words, whatever they want to, they could flip across the aisle, whatever, reassigned, they could do that themselves, provided they had undergone surgery and a minimum of 2 years of hormone treatments. Then the next, 11 years later, 2018, WIAA updated its policy, lifting the surgical component. So An MTF, which is male to female student, must have 1 calendar year of medically documented testosterone suppression therapy to be eligible to participate on a female team consistent with the policy. But they disregarded all scientific reasoning and eliminated all requirements related to medical evaluation and hormone therapy. So there's the history that brought us to this justifiable insanity.
The only positive there is that these kids maybe then aren't at least surgically changing themselves to be able to compete. That's the only positive. That maybe they're just going to say they're a boy when they're a girl, or a girl when they're a boy.
Hormone suppression.
Hormone
if
suppression.
you're a boy.
That's the only positive. I'm trying to give something positive.
You're an
here.
optimist.
I am an optimistic realist. But hey, are you as one as well? And if you're a fan of this show, maybe you are. Please do your little thing there and like, comment, share. If you're watching here on the social media, which you probably are, please send us your feedback by visiting stayeducated.org. And hey, don't forget to take advantage of our 66% off deal at MyPillow. Simply go to mypillow.com and use the code EDUCATED to save yourself a bundle on your towels. Maybe you get a bundle of towels then this Christmas season. Now, for David and myself, thank you for watching, thank you for listening, and thank you for supporting what we do here. Until next time, stay educated.